You know, he got tremendous speed. He got great power, defense, reflexes, all that, you know. But the only thing that I can say is I'm 10 steps ahead of him. Like, I'm 10 steps ahead of him in smarts.
Terence Crawford has finally addressed the growing hype surrounding Jaron "Boots" Ennis. Crawford made it clear he still believes he's operating on a completely different level. Crawford basically hinted that he has enormous respect for what Ennis brings to the table: the speed, the power, the reflexes, and the overall skill level that makes Boots a genuine threat to anyone who steps in the ring with him.
Listen, like I said, man, of course, everybody know the competitive nature in myself, but I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it doesn't matter, what never matters. You know, for that being, they would say, oh, well, he only fought Xander, or they'll come up with some type of excuse, you know. But to credit Boots, like, he's a tremendous talent, and he's no walk in the park for no one, you know. So he's a threat to anyone that he stepped foot in the ring with, you know.
Terence believes that he is 10 steps ahead of Ennis in pure boxing intelligence, and that is exactly where Boots would run into problems against him. According to Crawford, the holes he can see in Ennis's game are the same openings Xander Zayas was hitting him with during their fight, except believes he punches harder than Zayas, moves sharper than Zayas, and carries significantly more speed.
He got tremendous speed. He got great power, defense, reflexes, all that, you know. But the only thing that I can say is I'm 10 steps ahead of him. Like, I'm 10 steps ahead of him in smarts. And I think, you know, that's where he'd get in trouble with, you know, coming straight forward, you know, trying to box me, or trying to, you know, think shot for shot. I just, you know, compare myself, you know, with a lot of great fighters, and I can see the holes in his game, and I can see the openings and the opportunities that I would have, because A, I feel like I punch harder than Xander. B, I'm way sharper than Xander. C, I'm way faster than Xander. So the shots that Xander was hitting him with, and the shots that Xander couldn't capitalize because his speed wasn't there, I will be able to capitalize. And when I capitalize, everybody know I'm probably one of the best counter punchers, you know, there ever was. So
Terence Crawford has sent a clear message to Jaron "Boots" Ennis before a possible fight with Vergil Ortiz Jr. According to Crawford, if Ennis gets caught the way he did against Stanionis, Ortiz won't let him recover. He believes Boots needs to sharpen his defense and stop trading punches without a reason. Crawford admitted Ennis is quicker and more explosive than almost everyone in the division, but said he sometimes takes needless risks instead of fighting smart.
Listen, but when you get older and you realize, you know, you can prove things over and over and over, but the only person that you gotta prove something to is yourself. You know, I've been doing that my whole career. I've been doubted my whole career. I've been talked about my whole career. I've been, you know, I haven't fought this guy, and when I do fight these guys, or when I do step up, then it's always an excuse. So now that 38 years old, about to be 39, I don't have nothing to prove. I didn't win everything there is to win.
Crawford also spoke about his long-running talks with promoter Eddie Hearn regarding a possible fight against Vergil Ortiz. He revealed that before facing Canelo, he challenged Hearn to put his own money behind the matchup if he truly believed Ortiz could win. According to Crawford, Hearn chose not to invest in the fight.
You know, I hope that Jaron have half of the career that I had, you know, or surpass me. If he surpassed me, I'm gonna be rooting for him. You know, I'm gonna be giving him his props. I'm not the type of fighter that, you know, want to see him fail. I want to see him succeed. I want to congratulate him. I want to see him, you know, make it to the Hall of Fame, and, you know, congratulate him and things like that, you know. But when you say, oh, he would knock Terence Crawford out, or Terence Crawford ducked him, or Terence Crawford ran, and that's why Terence Crawford retired, it pisses me off sometimes. But at the same time, it's just the game.
You know the truth. Yeah, you know the truth.
Crawford also disagreed with the idea that Xander Zayas quit. He said if the fight needed to be stopped, That decision should have come from the corner, not the fighter himself. In his view, Zayas simply lacked experience, and looking toward his team after getting hurt is a normal reaction, not proof that he gave up. Crawford added that he wouldn't call Zayas a quitter, especially since he still stepped into the ring with Ennis.
What I can say right now is, let's do it next. Let's do that fight next. I know Vergil's already, everybody already knows, everybody already hears that things are looking good with Golden Boy, working things out. Plan is to get Vergil before the end of the year. Let's make this fight happen. Let's do it, because it's going to be a great fight. Vergil style, Boots, what Boots just did last night, it just tells the boxing world that it'll be one of the best fights of the year whenever it happens. It's a great fight. These guys could fight 2 or 3 times and the fans won't stop watching.
Vergil said himself, he said, I'm going to sleep Boots. If I get him.
I would love that fight to happen because it'll be a great fight. Eddie's saying that Vergil might want. No, we want to go straight into that fight. So if that's the case, then let's get on it right away.
Right, for sure.
Looking ahead, Jaron Ennis said he hopes to have one more fight before the end of the year as he continues his chase for the undisputed title at 154 pounds. He described this stage of his career as a mission to build his legacy. Ennis mentioned Sebastian Fundora, Vergil Ortiz Jr., and Josh Kelly as the key champions in the division and said he still hopes a fight with Ortiz can eventually happen.
Eddie said something interesting. He said that Vergil probably was going to want to fight in between, right? Because he had, 2 rounds against Lubin. That was in November, I believe, or something like that. It was a while back, and it's been a little while since he fought. You, as a trainer, would you prefer Vergil to get a fight in between?
When a manager, a trainer, a promoter right away says, "Well, I think Vergil might want to take another fight," that means you're the one that doesn't want it, right? Honestly, because you're not. Eddie's not Vergil's manager. Eddie's not Vergil's promoter. Eddie's not Vergil's trainer. And if he's saying, "Oh, well, Vergil might want to take," no, then that means he's the one that doesn't want it. On 100%, we'll take it right away.
Right.
Speaking about legacy and money, Ennis admitted that financial success is important because of his responsibilities outside the ring. At the same time, he said leaving behind a legacy as an undefeated champion who conquered multiple weight classes means just as much to him.
At all?
Look, at 47, he did have a couple fights where he struggled a little, especially when he fought at home. But I think that happens to a lot of fighters. When they fight at home, they're a little more confident, a little more, they have a lot of distractions also. So that could have been the reason. But he always showed very good skills, very good talent. At 154, the guys are bigger, even though there was, they're the same height, they're the same reach. No, but after the weigh-in, after the fighters gained, Sandro was at least 10 to 15 pounds heavier than Boots. You could tell. Sandro was big. So that's the difference now. The fighters are able to take better punches. The fighters are going to be bigger, stronger. So they're going to be a little more difficult. But when you have somebody like Boots who was able to come back and perform, and even after he was getting tagged a few times, still perform, that shows that he's got a great heart and great skills, great talent, great power. So he could compete at 154. But yeah, it's not the same. Obviously, from 147 to 154, it's a big difference.
Veteran promoter Bob Arum looked back at Xander Zayas' performance against Jaron Ennis and admitted he would have preferred to see Zayas gain more experience before accepting such a dangerous challenge. Even so, Arum praised the young fighter's courage and pointed to the success he had during parts of the fight, especially in the 3rd round, as proof of his future potential.
Vergil came out and said that he was going to sleep you. So I just want to know your comments on those.
Why he ain't take the fight in the beginning? You know what I'm saying? Bro, I ain't be talking, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to tell you, I'm really different. He gonna see firsthand. Cause he gets hurt a lot. He flat-footed and he been dropped multiple times. When he get hit by me, it's gonna be different. I'm trying to tell y'all.
When discussing a possible fight between Ennis and Terence Crawford, Bob Arum made it clear that he still considers Crawford one of the toughest fighters in boxing to figure out. He praised Crawford's rare ability to switch smoothly between orthodox and southpaw while staying equally effective from either stance.
Xander, a good fighter. I like Xander. Xander, one of my guys that I like, man. That's why you see me hugging him up. He's one of them top guys, man. To me, he's a good fighter, man. But I knew he couldn't do nothing with Boots. Man, I told you something. When y'all ain't see the best of him yet, you gotta they got to bring it out of my son. You know what I mean? You see when he bring it out, he get nasty. He like to knock everybody out, but I tell him relax. You gotta relax, take your time, man. You know what I mean? But he get excited, man. He like to fight. There ain't nothing I can do about it.
Ballsy, who do you think could bring out the best in your son at 154?
I don't know. I mean, he's supposed to bring out the best. You know what I mean? You know. But Fandor, I like Fandor. What other name? Fandor? I like to fight him. I think Ortiz. That'll be a good fight, Ortiz.
Trainer Brian McIntyre was asked if Jaron Boots Ennis is beginning his own era in boxing, much like Terence Crawford did after the Floyd Mayweather generation. While he praised Ennis as an outstanding fighter, McIntyre said Boots still shares the spotlight with other young stars like Shakur Stevenson and Naoya Inoue.
If you look at what he did in those two fights, in our rankings, he was number 1 and Stanionis was number 2, which is why they fought for the vacant welterweight title that Crawford gave up. He dominated a very good fighter in Stanionis. Stanionis was probably underrated going into that fight, and I don't think he got the proper credit afterward for beating him in the fashion that he did. He'll get more credit for beating Xander in this fight, but of course there will be questions about what happened in the third round. But that's what makes, that just builds the storylines toward him fighting either Fundora or Josh Kelly or, eventually Vergil Ortiz if he's able to beat Fundora and or Josh Kelly, because he's not going to fight Ortiz next. Ortiz is going to want a tune-up fight, which is also a frustrating part of this because Ortiz is, no offense, he's the reason why this has been delayed, and now he's going to wind up getting a tune-up fight. He's going to fight someone else before he fights Boots. My best guess is Boots is going to fight Josh Kelly next. I don't know if that'll be in Philadelphia or it'll be in the UK, because they could do big business in the UK for that fight as well.
McIntyre also talked about the talent at 147 and 154 pounds, placing Vergil Ortiz Jr., Sebastian Fundora, and Ennis in the same top tier where no clear favorite exists until they actually meet in the ring. He pointed out that Ortiz is known for finishing opponents once he hurts them, while Fundora's height and reach have helped him dominate the division despite suffering a loss earlier in his career.
I'm just in there having fun, and well, it's not going to be fun if you start eating those types of shots from Ortiz, who's of course a bigger puncher than Xander Zayas. On the flip side, Ortiz has been down several times, and Boots is maybe the most dynamic offensive fighter in the entire sport. So he's going to have his own issues dealing with what's coming back at him. So he's not going to be maybe as aggressive as he would be against lesser opponents. So I think it makes it all the more interesting on both sides, because there is vulnerability in both of these guys. And what happened in the third round last night was, we couldn't have asked for something. He goes and beats Zayas the way that people thought they would beat him, but you now have this storyline where Boots isn't invincible after all. Not that anyone really thinks any fighter is invincible, because they all get beat at some point usually. But now you have these questions about him, and Ortiz is a huge puncher and a very aggressive guy. So I just think it makes that fight all the more appealing. We just now, unfortunately, will have to wait another, 8 months or so before it actually happens. Hopefully 8 months.
Looking back at Ennis' victory over Xander Zayas, McIntyre said Boots had overcome a major challenge and is now ready for an even bigger one. He compared today's welterweight scene to the era after Marvin Hagler defeated Tommy Hearns, saying fans are now waiting to see who steps up next, just like they once waited for Sugar Ray Leonard or Roberto Duran.
About Boots, and he sort of didn't even want to answer the question. Do you think there's anything Boots could do that could lure Crawford out of retirement?
No. I think from Crawford's perspective, he made an enormous amount of money. There's only one way to go, and that's down at this point. He did consider fighting at middleweight one more time. I think if what happened to Janibek did not happen, he might have fought the winner of Janibek and Lara, which, probably would have been Janibek. And I think he would have beaten Janibek. So. Yeah, and then he would have added the middleweight titles to his legacy, and he would have been paid an enormous amount of money for that fight. Turkey would have paid him a lot to get him to come into the ring more. And they're going to still try. They want him to fight Canelo again. There are other somewhat appealing fights for him. I think the Boots thing just rubs him the wrong way, because Crawford feels like based on what he accomplished, he's on another level than Boots. And of course, from a legacy standpoint, he is. There are no two ways about that.
Boxing analyst Timothy Bradley Jr. believes Sebastian Fundora is one of the few fighters who could create serious problems for Jaron Ennis. He explained that the danger comes more from Fundora's physical advantages than his boxing skills, pointing to his reach, high punch output, power, and ability to control distance as qualities that make him a very difficult opponent.
Fundora, yes. Vergil is, that's Boots style. He likes when people come to him. You know, you can use all his tricks. It's not gonna be nothing. He don't have to figure nothing out. It's gonna be right in front of him. But Ortiz is a warrior, so he gonna be like Xander. He's gonna fight to the end.
You know, Danny.
But Fundora gives anybody problems. Just cause he's 6'7", 154 pounds, southpaw. They made him in a lab somewhere.
Bradley also claimed that Fundora has an entire year to satisfy his WBC mandatory requirement, but has shown no interest in facing Ennis, suggesting his team is avoiding that matchup. He added that Vergil Ortiz Jr. is currently dealing with legal matters, although that remains the fight Bradley wants to see the most.
Vergil was a 147 pounder at one time. It was coming up, so he's like Ennis. More 147 pounders are coming up. But guys like, it's always the guys who give you problems are the guys when you move up. They've been at that weight. Yes, those are the guys that give you hard problems. But if I'm 140 and I fight a 140 pounder at 147, it's gonna be the same thing. But when you go up and you fight a guy who's been there for 10 years, those are the guys who give you a hard fight because they're naturally bigger and stronger than you.
Bradley compared Fundora's current position with the way he previously called out Terence Crawford. Since Fundora often said he wanted to face the very best, Bradley argued that he should now be chasing a fight with Ennis, whom he believes is the most naturally gifted fighter in the division based on pure talent rather than accomplishments. Bradley added that if Fundora truly wanted the toughest challenge, he would simply tell his team, "Forget everyone else, I want Boots."